The difference between $0 in back pay and $20,000 in back pay can come down to one thing: your VA effective date. An effective date is the date the VA uses to determine when your disability compensation begins. That single date can affect how much retroactive compensation you're paid and when your monthly benefits start. Think of your effective date as the starting point for your VA disability compensation. When the VA grants service connection, it uses that date to determine when your benefits begin and whether you're owed retroactive compensation, often called back pay. For example, imagine you file a claim for past planners, also known as flat feet, on April 15th, 2025. The VA doesn't issue a decision until January 2026, and it grants your claim. Even though the decision came months later, the effective date could be April 15th, 2025. That means you could receive several months of retroactive compensation because your claim remained pending while the VA processed it. In other words, the amount of time it takes the VA to decide a claim doesn't necessarily reduce the amount of back pay you may receive. Now, let's look at a different example. A veteran develops vertigo during military service but doesn't file a claim until 4 years later. The veteran may have experienced symptoms that entire time, and the medical evidence may fully support the claim. But proving service connection and determining an effective date are two different issues. In many situations, waiting years to file can also mean waiting years to begin receiving compensation because the effective date often depends on when the VA receives the claim. That's one reason filing a claim sooner rather than later can be important. Here's one more example. A veteran files a claim for hip strain and the VA denies it. Instead of letting the decision become final, the veteran files the appropriate review option within the required VA deadline. Several months later, the VA grants the claim. In some situations, preserving continuous pursuit can also preserve the earlier effective date. Continuous pursuit simply means continuing to seek review of the VA decision within the required time limit instead of allowing that decision to become final. If the earlier effective date is preserved, the veteran could receive substantially more retroactive compensation than if the veteran had waited too long and filed a brand new claim. As you can see, an effective date is much more than a date on a VA decision. It can determine when your monthly disability compensation begins. It can determine how much retroactive compensation you receive. And in some situations, it can preserve months or even years of potential benefits. Your disability rating determines how much the VA pays. Your effective date helps determine when that compensation begins. Both are important. The next time you receive a VA decision, in addition to reviewing your disability rating, review the effective date as well. Understanding how the VA determined that effective date can help you better understand your decision and the compensation you've been awarded. An effective date may look like a simple date on the VA decision, but it can have a significant impact on your benefits. The more you understand how effective dates work, the better prepared you'll be to review your own VA decisions with confidence. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Veterans, helping veterans.